we might have seen some helicopters over by the RIVERSPORT Adventure area, the Boathouse District, over the past few days. We're going to get to the bottom of that. Dave Morris here in the Oklahoman's video studio, joined as always on Monday morning with Mike Knopp, Executive Director of the Oklahoma City Boathouse Foundation, and our special guest this week, Brian Weatherford from MidAmerica Rescue Company, which, as you might guess, that foreshadows what is happening. Mike, how was the weekend, first of all?
Well, it was cold, you know, but it was a good weekend. I think it was very, really a cool weekend at RIVERSPORT Rapids with what we saw going on there with all the swiftwater rescue training exercises that we did as part of the High Water Conference. That was the first annual High Water Conference this year, and I think we were very pleased about how that went. And it really all kicked off on Thursday when we did the helicopter exercises, and caught a lot of attention through the city with the low hovering helicopters over the rapids and doing all kinds. I mean, they really spent the day doing exercises, pulling people out of the water, and two different types of helicopters, and I thought that was it was pretty neat to see. It
was impressive from the perimeter watching what was going on, but I'm assuming up close was even more impressive.
Yeah. Well, it's really amazing to see what these guys can do in these kind of tight quarters, and then being able to at this point they were pulling people out of the big bottom pool. We've got the 8.2 million gallon big pool that was not moving, so it was flat water, and a lot of the first responders they were simulating different types of recoveries or rescues with as victims, and then they pull them up and they do them out of two different types of helicopters, a Black Hawk and a Lakota with the Army National Guard, and this went on all day, and it's preparation for they will come back and next time do it in moving water, so it'll be a little even trickier. But again, it's very difficult to have a place like we have where you can do this training in a very safe environment and under different conditions. I think is pretty neat.
As I mentioned, Brian Weatherford joins us. He's with the MidAmerica Rescue Company. And let's start right there. What is MidAmerica Rescue Company?
It's a company that me and another gentleman from Oklahoma City, Greg Merrill, have really been talking about for a long time. And finally, about a year and a half ago, we decided, hey, let's move forward with this. And we started it just as, there's a lot of aspects of technical rescue that just was not getting covered in the region.
Such as?
Water rescue, continuing education for ropes, structural collapse, more applicable training for smaller departments, just an outreach that hadn't been touched yet. And so,
but there's a need for that.
There's absolutely a need for it. And so we kind of, our foundation kind of started with water. We had went to the water park and spoke with them, kind of told them, hey, this is a really great venue to do some water rescue training at. And from there it just kind of took off. I mean, it became very, very popular. We got requests from all over the region, as far as Kansas, Missouri, down in Texas, people wanting to come and train with us at that facility.
So how do you facilitate something like this?
We get a request in, we check with the water park, make sure that it's okay to do the class on whatever dates requested by the department. Depending on what they're requesting, whether it be swiftwater class, a boat operator's class, a ropes class, we just kind of grab a pool of instructors together and go over some basic information the first couple days with them. We do some PowerPoint, we do some hands-on out in the bays, go over boats, go over ropes, knots, things like that. And then the second day we usually go out to a still body of water, so a lake or a river, kind of go over some flood techniques with them, basic boat operator skills. And then the third day is when we actually come out to the water park and let them operate boats or swim or do whatever, like I said, whatever water rescue training we're doing out there in the park.
So walk us through what I'm seeing on the RIVERSPORT OKC Facebook page. I see helicopters, I see ropes, but then I also see some ladders and people perhaps climbing out of the water using ladders.
Right. So so Thursday was Oklahoma Task Force 1. They were separate from the conference that we did this weekend. They were out there doing their training. Friday we kicked off High Water with some classroom presentations from various people, different subject matter, medical considerations. We talked about a loss that we had in Oklahoma. A Claremore firefighter died a few years ago. And so it's very kind of like almost personal to Oklahoma to get this training, and we really didn't have it before that happened. So Friday was a good day of presentations, and then Saturday, Sunday is when we kicked off skills rotations throughout the park. So we had ladder evolutions where students got an opportunity to use ground ladders to access victims. So this could be Something as simple as, maybe a car's just out in the water, it's too deep for us to wade and safer for us to just, use a ladder as a bridge to get out to them, which, you have a max of about 25 to 35 feet with that. But a lot of students have never gotten to use their aerial or their ladder truck at their department to access victims, which then you can get a good 80 foot to 100 foot reach from a stable shoreline. So giving them an opportunity to just do things like that, to just practice, is invaluable. We had a simulated car prop where students had to kind of get in the mindset that that is a vehicle out in the middle of the water. And Mike Mather from Rhode Island gave them a fantastic class on some different techniques to reach the vehicle, to get the occupants out of the vehicle, and bring them to the shore safely. So we had a pinned victim evolution, which is right there on the bridge you saw. That was simulating somebody stuck on the upstream side of a bridge, or it could be a tree or whatever it might be, but showing them techniques how to get them off the upstream side. They have a lot of water pressure against them, and usually we try to go up if we can, and if we can't, then we'll pull them out and away and then move them to shore to safety. So those were some of the skills evolutions we did, and then we had some boat operations. We had some basic water rescue skills. A lot of these participants had never even been in the water before, so we gave them a lot of water rescue basics. We had a GPSing course which focused a lot of the skills that we needed for down in Houston when we responded to Hurricane Harvey. So he made the GPS world for us in the USAR environment applicable to the flood environment. So they loaded up in boats. He set a bunch of waypoints throughout the Oklahoma River, and the students went out and GPSed them, marked them, came back, uploaded them to a computer, much like we would in a search and rescue environment or a disaster environment where we're actually waypointing and marking our search patterns. So.
Sounds like this is invaluable training and education, because it's one thing to be in a hurricane in Houston when it's real time. Mm-hmm. This allows for some education because you actually do have some time.
You have a little bit of time. Water rescue is very dynamic. It can change very fast. Sometimes we say water is predictable, and a lot of times that's the case, but it can change so quickly to you that these participants need options available to them. And so that's kind of what we focus this conference being, is let's give these students options. Let's go through, let them practice skills start to finish, let them get some reps on things they probably will never get to experience again. This water park is invaluable with that, because nobody can go, very few places in the country that can replicate what we can here at Oklahoma City. So,
guys, who all participated? Who all came this past weekend for this event?
We had people from all over the country and a few from Canada, actually. So they came from all over, which is a great, for first year for us to do a conference. We're very happy with the numbers. I think we had around 80. Now that the exposure's out, we really didn't even advertise for it. So mm-hmm. I'd suspect next year we easily double, and maybe even have to look at putting a cap on it, just because there's nothing in the region, and really nobody's going to be able to offer what we can offer here.
Another round of training in May?
Yeah, the helicopter training will come back in May, and then we'll continue to have programs with Brian and his team as the demand warrants.
Absolutely.
So we're really pleased that we have this incredible, as we've talked before, world-class recreational asset that can also provide such a great service and public service, and hopefully, ultimately, it's going to make a big impact on public safety. So.
Brian, I'll give you a chance to tell us a little bit more about MidAmerica Rescue Company. What else do you guys do, and how can people get involved?
Well, we cover a multitude of different technical rescue disciplines. So like I said, whether it be rope rescue, confined space, structural collapse training, we try to make it fit the department's needs. So a lot of departments can't get away for an entire week to do training. A lot of departments can't get away for 2 weeks to do training. And so we try to offer that flexibility to departments that really need it and can utilize it, but don't have a way to get away like that. So they can reach out to us on our website, which is MidAmericaRescue.com. They can find us on Facebook as well, and just request a class that they feel is applicable to them. So.
How legit is that?
Yeah. I think we turned some heads on I-35. There's some little slowdown of traffic on the bridge, but when that was going on. But yeah, it was quite a sight.
Wow, interesting, fascinating stuff. Brian, great to meet you, and congrats on a successful weekend there.
Absolutely.
Mike.
Yeah, it was a busy week, and even beyond that, we had rowing races going on with some duels with some teams from Dallas, and then canoe kayak races with a team from Canada, and so
you had some snow. You had an earthquake.
We had snow and earthquake, and so yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah,
so
another weekend in Oklahoma.
Another weekend in Oklahoma. That's right. But we are we're continuing with our spring adventure camps with. That coincide to help parents during this teacher walkout. So we've had great feedback in terms of what the kids are getting to do and keeping them busy. They're learning something. They're staying active, and even the kids got to go over and look at the helicopters and some of the rescues going on, which is also very cool.
It's very spectator friendly. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. So we'll continue doing that as long as there's a need, and then we've got our special going on right now for early signups for our summer camps. So early bird special that goes on until April 14th. We've got rowing, canoe, kayak, and sailing camps going on this summer, which are always a great way to keep your kids active and get them to learn something new and maybe introduce them to a new sport. And so that's something that you can get in on here right now.
And a little foreshadowing, the big Whitewater Festival coming up just next month.
It is going to be here before we know it, and it continues to get larger with regard to, we've got the Pump Track World Championship qualifier that will bring people in from all over the country for that. Very spectator friendly. This year in general is going to be a very spectator oriented event with that, and boater cross. We're actually building the ramp that the boats will launch off of from the top bridge. They actually go off a ramp and into the water together, and they're building that this week, and that'll be happening during that event. And then we will also be doing our talent transfer, our Do You Have What It Takes to Be an Olympian camp that we'll be talking about here next week. We'll be having some news about that, so it'll be a fun weekend.
What do you think, Brian? Would you try out? Do you think you're an Olympian? Do you think you could push a bobsled or something?
It'd be worth a try.
That's a good answer.
And we're hoping a lot of people think, it's worth a try. Just give it a shot. There's not, many places or any place really in the country you're going to have this chance to just see if you have what it takes. And you may not know what sport, but we're going to help you see if you're you got a hidden skill. So.
Many things going on down at the Boathouse District. Of course, you can find more information, scheduled events, more information about those summer camps on their website at riversportokc.com. Brian Weatherford, MidAmerica Rescue Company. Great to meet you, sir.
Thank you.
Best of luck moving forward with your company and everything. And Mike, always good to catch up.
Great. Thank you, Dave.